Champions for hire.
Welcome back to James for Hire. I am Matthew Perry, joined by Sal Blandina, and we are here with some soccer content for you guys. The UEFA Euros 2020 has reached the knockout stages, the round of 16, and the bracket is set. Play begins tomorrow on Saturday, and the 16 is set. I'm going to show the graphic here. It's laid out for you, and there are plenty of good matchups here, lots of star power to look at, and a couple underdogs that could make a deep run into this tournament. We're going to break down the matches one by one, and starting off with Belgium and Portugal, one of the star-studded matchups, if I do say so myself, one I'm really excited for. Sal, what are your thoughts on this match going in?
Yeah, I think that this is probably my favorite matchup out of the entire bracket. There's one more in particular, but we're going to talk about that later. But definitely in the top two. Like I said, you have a lot of people's favorites in Portugal against, obviously Euro 2016's winner, Belgium, the favorite with 2016, with Euro 2016's winner, Portugal. Yeah, it's unfortunate for Portugal that they have to start off their match with Belgium, but of course, the group of death, they ended in third, so this is where they have to first. Like, if we're gonna go straight up ahead, I mean, like Belgium. We're talking about De Bruyne, we're talking about Lukaku, that whole team. Maybe there's like a weak spot in the defense, but I just like, you got Courtois on goal. Just that whole team is just stacked up for success. Yeah. The only weak point in this entire team, I feel like, is the manager. I do not like Martinez. That's pretty much like my only, I guess, like downside for this Belgium team. But I think everything else. So, just being everybody's favorites. And then Portugal, of course, Ronaldo. I'm not too big on Ronaldo as much as other people are. I actually really don't like Ronaldo at all. I call him Ronaldo. Like, I hate to be one of those people. I'm sorry if you like Ronaldo, but Messi's my GOAT. I like a GOAT who doesn't only score tap-ins and penalties, and that's what all I'm seeing from Ronaldo. Sure, he's the top goal scorer of the tournament so far, and that's impressive by itself. But I mean, we're talking about 3 or 4 penalties he scored, and if they aren't a penalty, it's a tap-in. So I don't know. And look, this Portugal side is really good, other than Ronaldo. We got Renato Sanchez, Bernardo Silva, Rui Patricio in goal. It's a good team, but I just don't see them beating Belgium. It's just unfortunate that they had to be matched up with Belgium in the first matchup. Just this top side of the bracket is so stacked. I have to give it to Belgium. This team is just too good, and I think that Portugal. It's not going to be an easy game, of course, but I say it's definitely Belgium go through for sure.
Yeah, Belgium is such a complete team, and they dominated their group. They went 3-0-0, and had a pretty easy ride. I mean, it's Russia, Denmark, and Finland, so no one elite out there, but. Belgium is a complete team, at least name-wise. I mean, you got Lukaku up front. The midfield's pretty stacked with De Bruyne leading the way there. And then the defense is good. Vertonghen, Alderweireld, a couple of Tottenham guys, former Tottenham, whatever. And then Courtois and net, they are a pretty complete team. And Portugal's not too far off. I think they're a little behind Belgium when it comes to, I guess, not maturity, but a lot of guys on that team haven't reached their peak yet. Ruben Diaz, most notably, I mean, he's one of the best young players in the world right now. He's been playing really well. Ronaldo isn't everything to that team. David Silva, Bruno Fernandes. There's a lot more with that team. Semedo in the defense, and then Rui Patricio in net is a solid veteran to cater to them. I do think this match can be close, but in the end, I do think that Belgium will take it as well. They've looked really good, and I see them carrying that momentum. Moving to the next match on the left side of the bracket, that being your Italian team taking on Austria. I know you're very excited about this as a fan of Italy, so I will let you talk about this one for a little bit.
Look, just because I'm an Italian football fan, I'm not going to let my bias opinion of them blind me, but I'm also not going to let their dominance blind me. 30-game unbeaten run, unbelievable. You say what you want, all weak teams. I looked over, of course, most of them are weaker teams. They're going to play them in friendlies. They're going to play them in qualifiers, or so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, when you're unbeaten for that long, no matter what, it's impressive. And especially not even just that, their last 10 games, they've gone 1,000 minutes plus without conceding a goal. And it's just not just not conceding a goal. The other teams haven't even come close to scoring. You look, you have the defense like Chiellini, Bonucci, those two, they're older, of course. But they still get the job done. I think Chiellini's like 36, Bonucci's a little younger, but still well into their 30s. And then you have Donnarumma in goal, who so far in this tournament, I think only has like one save, because that's the only opportunity he's gotten to have a save. So, and don't even get me started with the rest of the team. Spinazzola been amazing. Immobile, Insigne, Chiesa. Just even though he's just off the bench, against Wales, they had their B team. He was the man of the match. If he can be in the starting 11, I just don't know if there's room for him, unfortunately, but he should be. Overall, this Italy team, it's, a lot of people called them the dark horses going into this tournament, as in, because everybody thought France or Belgium or Portugal would win, or Germany. But Italy, man, they're impressive. They have the best goal difference so far, +9. +7? I'm sorry, +7. It's I think Belgium are behind with a +6. And this whole team is just clicking. They have all the confidence in the world. Roberto Mancini, he changed his team around after the 2018 loss, not being able to qualify for 2018. And, the Italian football was in shambles after that. And to get Mancini back, to get Mancini as manager, well known for Man City, Inter, winning titles with those two teams, having him as manager is what I think at the end of the day is what is making this team so good. I think he's the best manager out in the tournament, apart from maybe Deschamps and Didier Deschamps in France. I think those are the top two for sure. But this team is so good. Austria, of course, Jordi Alba, a few other players that are not coming to mind right now. Maybe Matt, you can tell me, but the fact that they even made this far, because I know they're not that good in competitive tournaments. Austria just historically have never been good. To even make it this far in the round of 16 is a success, but unfortunately, I think that this is gonna be a lopsided game. I think it could be 2-3-0. I'm sorry, I think that's where it's gonna go.
Italy are definitely the favorites. Obviously, they've been pretty dominant, outscoring their opponents 7-0. I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. And they're definitely a little more complete team than Austria. That's why they're the favorites. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this gets close. I mean, Austria has put up some goals. Actually, never mind. They only scored 3 against North Macedonia. They got shut out by Ukraine and the Netherlands. Oh, I'm sorry. They won 1-0 against the Ukraine. But the loss to the Netherlands, it's a good team, the Netherlands, so you can't really hate too much on that. I think you meant David Alaba.
Alaba, yeah. So I always get Alaba.
Yeah, Jordi Alba we'll talk about soon
in Spain. I noticed that mistake.
Yeah, him and Arnautovic are probably the top players, and Arnautovic has had plenty of chances so far in this tournament. He'll probably be the one with the most chances come Saturday. But yeah, I think Italy are the favorites, and I would, if I had to make a prediction, say Italy gets the win. But don't be surprised if Austria makes it close, because I do think they have the ability to.
I mean, at the end of the day, a knockout stage, win or go home, anything can happen. But I've just seen this Italy team play so. I've seen every single one of their games. It's just gonna be so hard to do anything with Italy right now. So yeah.
And moving to a game that honestly, based on play in the group stages, on paper can go either way. But once you get into rosters and stuff, it's a little lopsided. It's France and Switzerland. France went 1-2-0 in the group. Obviously, they were in a pretty difficult group with Portugal and Germany in there. But they were able to clutch out a win against Germany, which was big, and draw Portugal and Hungary. Obviously, that Hungary game, I'm sure they want back. That's one they definitely should have had. Portugal obviously can take just about anyone in this tournament. But yeah, France, are definitely looking to wake up and improve on what they have. Mbappe is yet to score in this tournament. He needs to wake up a little bit. Giroud has had 9 chances and has disappointed on most of those. I would like to think that he has a comeback game on Saturday, especially against one of the weaker defenses in the tournament. So hopefully they wake up and see that. But I still think France are the favorites. I'm still going to take them over Switzerland. Switzerland has some offense, but it's really been carried by Xherdan Shaqiri. I mean, he's their top guy when it comes to offense. I mean, they have Xhaka, a couple other names, but no one's really stood out to me like Shaqiri. He needs a couple more chances because he's been the one to make them the most of them. He's definitely been their key player. Sommer in net, he's given up more. He's conceded more goals than games played. He's given up 5 in 3 games. That's something that needs to be worked on, especially against an offense of France that can be absolutely lethal, especially if Mbappe wakes up and starts putting shots on goals. So Sommer, he's a key player because he needs to get it together, or else Switzerland are in for an early exit. But
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on France and Switzerland?
Well, the thing is, like, starting with Switzerland, like you said, Shaqiri, he's the man that creates all the chances. You can give it to Embolo, who can score goals, Xhaka in the midfield, Sommer in the net, who has been disappointing, of course, in the tournament, but he can, he has a talent. It's possible he can make some great saves. But this defense, I don't really see anything special. I remember Rodriguez, he played in my AC Milan team. Wasn't that great. He was to a point, but he was always more of attacking minded. Right back. So I don't really see anything special with the Switzerland team. Of course, they made it out of the group in second. I think that group, everybody beat up on Turkey, and that's what Switzerland and everybody else did. So it's not really special. I mean, it's possible, like we said earlier, anything can happen. But with this French team, I gotta say, shout out to Hickey, our friend. Massive French fan. The thing is with this, what scares me about this French team in a good way is just they haven't hit their stride yet. And just once they hit their stride, I feel like they're completely unbeatable. This team is so fast. Nobody can really catch up to them. Every name here is a big name. Like, I think we're living in the French glory days right now. It's like we're living in France's world. It's gonna be so hard. If they hit their stride with Switzerland, and then go on into the next game. Just keep going. It's gonna be so hard to beat them. Benzema, of course, scandal before. He's kind of exiled from the French team. Doing really well. I haven't seen that much from Griezmann yet. Just imagine once he hits their stride. That Pogba Kante duel in the midfield is insane. Pogba plays way better in international play than he does with Man U, and he shows that he's got the national pride. And of course with Conte and then Varane and Kimpembe and those 2 center backs, big and tall and fast. And then Lloris, of course, in goal. This team is just from top to bottom is just on paper unbeatable. And once they hit their stride, of course they suffer from the group of death, and they could have been better, but once they this easy matchup with Switzerland, of course anything can happen, but I really think that this is going to be an easy game for them. Once they hit that stride and then go on to the next game, I just feel like it's going to be unbeatable. So yeah, for sure France wins. Maybe Switzerland can maybe get 1 goal, maybe like a 2-1, 3-1 win, but I have to give it to France.
You dropped all those names for France. That kind of makes it even more shocking that they drew Hungary. I mean, all that star power you listed, Pogba, Conte, Griezmann, guys I didn't mention, that just kind of blows my mind how Hungary got away with a draw. But
Hungary always. Also, I think they played at home in a few games, so that could, these also play in a factor. Remember, the Euros are just not in one nation; they're in different places. I also forgot to mention that with Italy, Italy played all their games at home in Rome, the capital. So I think Hungary played some of their games in Budapest, and that also plays a factor, playing in front of the home crowd, the home pride. And then that last game they played against Germany was in Munich. It's just that home feeling too plays a big factor. And I think they played that game at home, if I'm not mistaken, the France against France. So that could also, play a factor, of course. So.
Yeah, you might be right on that one. But we'll move to the last game of the left side of the bracket, a game I'm very excited for. Croatia and Spain, 2 teams that kind of also underperformed in group play, 1-1-1 for Croatia and then 1-2-0 for Spain. Both teams had convincing wins over a weaker team. Croatia got a 3-1 win over Scotland, and Spain blew Slovakia out of the water 5-0. Both teams have something to prove, and they both have the players and ability to get a win here. I think this could be a very close game, maybe one that goes extra time. And really, any given day, this match can go either way. The offense is going to have to be there for Croatia. Modric is definitely going to have to kind of take charge out there in the midfield and kind of become a little bit of a general out there, making sure things stay the way they need to. Because if this game gets away, if they go 1-2 goals down, that's going to be hard to come back from. So he has to lock things down there. And then Spain's full of such young talent, plenty of guys out there. But besides that game against Slovakia, it was hard to come by. They drew Poland 1-1. They drew Sweden 0-0. Morata, Rodrigo, Gerard Moreno, those guys are going to be really important because you're going to need balls in the back of the net against Croatia. What are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, the Spain team, like you said, a lot younger, but they also have some older players in there. They got Busquets, of course, like I said before. I got mixed up Jordi Alba with David Alba, too many Albas, Alba, whatever. So, yeah, of course. And then Morata, who, I don't know, always kind of like unimpressed me. Like he's been to so many different clubs. He's at Juventus. I think it was like Chelsea, Atletico Madrid, and a lot of different clubs and a lot of different leagues. But, that 5-0 win against Slovakia, who was in prime position to move forward, that was impressive. Even though there was like an own goal, a funny own goal sprinkled in there. But, look, Luis Enrique, Barcelona, managed Barcelona. I don't know. He hasn't impressed me so far. It feels like he's experimenting more than anything. Maybe experimenting. I don't know, because like if he gets knocked out in the Euros, his job might be in jeopardy. At least in the group stage now. I don't know, but I feel like Croatia are a great team. They got Modric, even though he's aging. But look, I feel like some people forget this is the same team that was in the final with France, and they kind of, even though it was like a 4-1 or 4-2, I forgot what it was. I was rooting for Croatia in that game because I would have loved to see a team like Croatia make it through, win a World Cup instead of a bigger team. But, of course, it's been 3 years since. A lot of these players have aged. Modric, Perisic, Brozovic. You have no more Mandzukic, nothing. So they're a great team. I feel like this game will definitely head to extra time, maybe even penalties. But I feel like Spain, they're going to find a way to go through. But I would not be surprised at all if Croatia makes it go through. But I feel like I have to give it to Spain. They're too talented. I don't know if it's going to be I feel like it's going to be too much for Modric, especially an aging Modric, to just carry everything, carry the whole team. So I have to give it to Spain in this one, but it'll be extremely close, and I would not be surprised if Croatia goes through.
Moving to the right side of the bracket, we have one of the most, I want to say, exciting, least star-studded affairs, that being Sweden and Ukraine. Sweden played really well in the group stage, going 2-1-0. Ukraine, I think the only team with a negative goal differential, finding their way into the round of 16, going 1-0-2, taking losses to the other two teams in the round of 16 from that group, Netherlands and Austria. Not too much to say on this match, if I'm being honest. I do think it's one that could go either way, although I will give Sweden the victory in my mind. Emil Forsberg has been playing out of his mind, pretty much carrying the offense for the Swedes. And then Ukraine, you have Yarmolenko, who's probably their most well-known player. He comes from West Ham in the Prem. He's going to need to be big. He's going to need to create some chances. And then Yarmolenko is, I believe, a striker for them. And I know he's been playing pretty well offensively. Both teams, despite the goal differential of Ukraine being bad, they have some 4 goals scored by Ukraine and then 4 goals scored by Sweden in the group stage. So it really might just come down to defense, and I think their defenses are almost evenly matched. I might give the advantage to Sweden a little bit because I think they're built a little better. But, this is one that I wouldn't be too shocked if Ukraine won, although I do have to give the edge to Sweden.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think Sweden, their team is really talented. Forsberg, especially the last game, which ended up winning them the group, he carried. Well, Ukraine, yeah, exactly what you said. What I like about Ukraine is that they have Shevchenko, AC Milan legend. I don't know why I blanked on it for a second. Shevchenko as manager, I love that, considering AC Milan legend. Yeah, I just don't know, I'm not too familiar with any of the names. They barely made it through. I think they were like the last third place team to make it through. They really had to wait till the last match day to find a way through. I have to give it to Sweden. It could be close, but I feel like Whoever wins this is it's just bait for the next team. So it's definitely in terms of like entertainment. It's I feel like it's gonna be the least watched game in the world, just because there's a lot better matchups. And yeah, like I mean, it could go in either way, but I'll give it to Sweden.
Yeah, whoever wins this match will be bait to the next match. The match I'm most excited about: England and Germany. England and Germany both had somewhat disappointing group stages. England, the disappointment was all offensive because they did not give up a goal like Italy. They did not concede at all in the group stage, but they only scored 2 goals, unlike Italy. Offense is definitely going to be the main topic for England because they need to kick it into gear, especially with guys like Sterling and Harry Kane. I think you mentioned Sterling's scored both their goals, right? So yeah, they have other guys that can really kick it into gear. Mason Mount in the midfield, a couple other guys. Jadon Sancho, I mean, where's he been? They really need to pick it up offensively again, especially against Germany, because they're going to bring the offense. They won 4-2 against Portugal, a team with a defense, I'd say almost on England's level, if not on their level. And Germany, I mean, they lost 1-0 to France, but that's a great team. So I wouldn't be too hurt by
Yeah,
that.
and it was an own goal.
Yeah, and it was an own goal. So how much blame can you really give?
Yeah.
The draw to Hungary, of course, hurt them. 2-2 draw. That kind of hurt them a
Yeah,
little
that
bit.
really tested them. It really
Yeah.
tested them.
But Thomas Muller, I mean, he's an all-time Germany guy at this point. He's going to be leading that offense. Kai Havertz is really impressed. He's a young guy coming from my Chelsea boys over in England. He's been great. Both teams need to bring offense because the defense, at least for England, has been really good. This will be evenly matched, but England, looking at this team, they have a lot of young talent. So I don't know if they're ready for the Euros this year, but the next 10, 15 years is a great window for them because they got to bring some international trophy home with, I was talking to you about this before, with the plethora of talent that they have. They're going to win something. It might not be Euros this year, but maybe the next one, maybe the World Cup even. I see big things coming for England. I don't know if it's this year, so I'm going to give it to Germany. I'm going to give it to Germany just because they've been here before. They know how to be successful internationally, and they have a lot of guys that have had that success in the past. So just based on veteran presence, because both teams have young guys, but Germany I think has the edge in experience. So I'm going to give it to Germany.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think England are set for the next 10 to 15 years. You know, maybe they can win in 2026 for the 60th anniversary of, you know, the only time they've won a World Cup. Definitely next year is definitely possible, but I feel like 2026 is like even bigger. You know, we have much more experience. But yeah, I definitely see a World Cup or maybe a Euro Cup, but more a World Cup. Of course, that's what they want more than the Euros. But I definitely see a World Cup in the next 10, 15 years from this team. I feel like that there's just too early, and I have not seen enough, especially offensively. I mean, if Sterling's the only one bringing you goals, you know, when you have somebody, when you have Kane there, like, and then Grealish as well, like, you need to score goals. And if Kane doesn't pick it up, like, I feel like if Kane has a game, then it's over for Germany. If Kane wakes up, if he does something, then it's over for Germany. But if it stays the same, if Sterling's your only one scoring goals and you just like stay, you know, play defensively, I think Germany is just gonna have them in the pocket and just, you know, it'll be a nice game, be an extremely exciting game. Like I said, you know, before with Belgium, Portugal, these two games are the ones to look out for in the round of 16. But I have to give it to Germany. Like I said, they're more experienced. They've won a World Cup in the past. Sure, they've been disappointing recently. And, you know, this is Germany. This is Lau's last tournament as manager. You don't want to go out in the round of 16. They almost went on the group stage. So really, they need to really pick it up. So I got to give it to Germany. You know, Kai Havertz. You know, you still have Cruz. Sané's been but, you know, and then Kimmich. I'm a big fan of Kimmich. You know, Bayern Munich. So.
Gnabry
Yeah,
too.
and then like you said, Muller, yeah, again Gnabry too. So I feel like I have to give this to Germany. It'll be an extremely close game. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another game that goes in extra time. But I just need England's offense to pick it up. You know, otherwise, you know, going on the round of 16, it's, you know, unfortunate for a team that had really high expectations. But no worries, English fans. You know, I really do think that this is a team for the future. So
a match I see being rather one-sided, honestly. Netherlands and Czech Republic. I think the Netherlands are going to overpower the Czech Republic. Offensively for the Czech, Patrick Schick has been their only real light. He's been fantastic, but everyone else has kind of fell short. The Netherlands have been great, and they have so much talent. Jorginho Wijnaldum, Memphis Depay, new Barca guy. I'm excited to see what he can do in Spain. But
Should have been going to AC Milan.
yeah, I mean, you guys kind
I
of
would
knew
have.
him, but yeah, they're going to have to click here. But they went 3-0 in the group. They had an easier group: Ukraine, Austria, and North Macedonia. So it was pretty easy, smooth sailing to get here. But I do think they'll take this one pretty easily. Frankie De Jong, De Ligt, however you pronounce it. They look good, and they look pretty set for the future. So I
Yep.
think they could make a deep run. They would face the winner of Wales and Denmark, which I think they could take both of those teams as well. So they could continue that smooth sailing. I like Netherlands here.
Yeah, I really like this Dutch team. You know, another team that missed out in the 2018 World Cup, just like my Italian team, a team that picked it up afterwards. And, you know, they have such a talented team led by Depay. Would have loved to see, you know, there were always rumors between him and AC Milan. I would have loved to see it. You know, the Dutch have had a lot of success, AC Milan, but of course, they went to Barca. But him, Wijnaldum, De Jong, Dumfries, you know, I think he plays in the Dutch league. This is a really good team, and then you know it's defense with De Ligt, of course, Juventus. He kind of disappointed his first season there, but still extremely young. Blind, who you know provides veteran presence. Yeah, I love this Dutch team. I really think you know like Czech Republic, you know. All their goals have come from one guy. Once you stop that one guy, I mean, who else is going to score their goals? So I really do think that that the Dutch here have. Well, I don't want to say easy game. You know, I'm trying to shy away from that term. But you know, I do think that that the Dutch are gonna take this one. So
No,
yeah.
I agree. And rounding out the round of 16, we have Wales and Denmark. Denmark obviously suffering a major blow with Christian Eriksen being out for the remainder of the tournament after what happened to him. You know, I mean, at this point, you're just hoping he recovers and he's good for the next tournament because what happened to him was pretty big. So his road to recovery is most important. They don't have much else besides him, though, at least offensively. Their defense is pretty solid, led by Christensen, Chelsea guy, really big on him. But besides that, and Schmeichel and net, there isn't much else to this team. They went 1-0-2. One of the only teams, I think them and Ukraine were the only ones with a losing record moving into the round of 16. So, you know, I'm not very high on them. Their one win was over a Russian team that looked god-awful. Real big disappointment from the Russian team in the group stage, but that's how it goes sometimes. The Wales team looked decent. The one team they beat was Turkey, which also, despite looking promising, was also god-awful. 1-1-1. Not sure what to expect from them. They have some offense. Gareth Bale, I'd like to see him make more of a mark in this game. Aaron Ramsey, of course, manning the midfield. He's been real good. And those are two guys you expect to be on that level. So I'm glad they're there because if they weren't there, I'd have some real questions for this Wales team. But they're holding down the fort the best they can. They're probably the two most notable players they have. They're not big on stars or anything, but I think I would give this to Wales simply because of who they have on paper. I think it could be close. Denmark could raise some eyebrows, but in the end, I do think Wales will come away with the victory.
I disagree here. So, like Wales, from what I've seen, especially since they were in the same group as Italy, I did not see anything. I didn't see anything that impressed me. You know, Bale's been kind of meh. I mean, he's a great leader. You know, I saw. You know, they versed Italy's B team, and they only won 1-0. Italy. I mean, it could have been a lot more. Wales played nicely, but it's against Italy's B team, and I know we're talking about Italy, so it's not really fair to compare. But I don't know. I haven't seen anything great from Bale. Ramsey's played okay, but Bale, your best player, like from a leader standpoint, I think he's great. He brings up these guys. There's like the one of their players got a red card, and he's like, try to comfort him as much as possible. He's, as a leader, he's great. But as a player, I haven't seen anything great this tournament. And Denmark, on the other hand, they have that story, and I'm a kicker for Cinderella stories like Denmark. They have Kajier in defense who. Got to represent my AC Milan. He's such a great defender at AC Milan and even better with the Denmark team. Like, I think the whole Eriksen story really, it plays in their favor. Like, I feel like for them, it's a great story and they have to win. Like, I just want to see them win. I would love to see them go far. It would be such a great story for Denmark and just like, it's unfortunate what happened to him. I hope this doesn't, I hope that he has a career after this. He was such a great player for so many teams. Spurs, of course, he's an Inter for in terms of Eriksen's situation. But I would love to see them win it for Eriksen. Make that a hashtag. So I got to give this to Denmark. I can't go against them. We've seen this before. Stories like this where, an unfortunate situation becomes, we take a bad situation turn into a great situation. I'm glad that he's out of the hospital. He'll be okay. I hope he'll be able to play. And I got to give it to Denmark. I got to give it to Denmark. So.
All right. Those have been our predictions and our preview for the UEFA Euros 2020 round of 16. Catch us back here for the semifinals where we'll indulge in whoever makes the final.
Quarterfinals.
The quarterfinals, sorry. And see who goes from there. But for Sal Blandina, I've been Matthew Perry. And for GMs for Hire, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.
Yeah.